Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the 31 Days of Horror. I am your host Moon616, and thank you once again for stopping in, guys. Yeah, day 18 is upon us, and yeah, we're gonna get into a relatively brand new film. I think this one came out officially in 2014. I think it just got released on media maybe sometime last year or early this year. I'm not 100% sure. The director of this film is actually a well-known artist. Now, he did lots of work for, earlier Scream Factory releases, and he did comic books, and he's wrote screenplays for other things and stuff like that. The film in question here is called A Wish for the Dead. Yeah, I really like that cover art, man. Of course, the movie like this is going to have great artwork on it because, Nathan Thomas Milner, who is the artist and the director of this, obviously did it, so pretty cool stuff. But getting into the premise of this one, basically it follows your main character, John. John is in a hospital. Unfortunately, his wife is laying on her deathbed. She has terminal cancer. And John is a very, very pissed off person. He really hates the fact that, people have to go through this type of pain and the fact that people die. And he's really pissed off at the doctors and just the whole world around him because, his wife was a good person and she doesn't really deserve to go through this type of stuff. So, during all this is going on, John gets approached by this mysterious stranger who has he has this locket, and he proceeds to give John the locket, and he tells him that, this locket holds the power to grant you one wish, but you can't use the wish for personal gain. It has to be something, something else. And so basically what John does, he wishes that humans didn't have to feel pain or even die. He wished that death didn't even exist in the world. Now, of course, with that wish, the dead all rise from, their graves, and, the recently deceased start attacking and things like that because, well, there's no such thing as death, and we got a full-on zombie apocalypse now. So that is the setup to the film. Now, my thoughts on this film. Now, I have to admit, I really like the premise of this film. I think it's an interesting and unique way of kind of showcasing, or doing a zombie film. At least this movie has a serious premise to it. Now, with that said, the whole movie is like a serious tone type film. There's no comedy to this type of film. It's not a zom-com or anything. And I really like that approach. You take this kind of interesting, unique idea where we all know like a lot of zombie films these days generally don't even have any type of story or anything to go with the narrative at all in these type of films and stuff. So they really did try with this one. I like the setup of it. But, the problem is with this movie, though, is that there's no conviction to the story. And what I mean by that is that the acting doesn't sell the story at all. Now, what they did in this movie is kind of interesting because it's not just played straightforward. This one actually follows a whole pile of different characters and their stories. So basically when John makes this wish, he impacts everyone's lives, of course, that are around him in the hospital and things like that. Like there's a guy that, he's on death row and he's getting executed, and there's this girl losing her grandfather, and this dude gets shot in the head, and there's like all these other characters that were introduced and that we follow their stories and things like that. Now, I really like that concept and stuff. The problem is the execution isn't really there in the film. Of course, the acting doesn't really sell, and the execution, it just comes off a little bit sloppy at times and things like that. It's a really kind of slow pace, kind of all over the place type film. And then about 3/4 in the film, we get this zombie apocalypse, which doesn't really last a whole long time in the film, which is actually quite surprising. And even to be more surprised, I was expecting a lot of blood and gore from this, which, of course you don't need in a film to be really great, but I was expecting with this type of storyline that it was just going to go crazy with this kind of slow, slender build up to the film. But you don't really get that, and it slows down again also. So my biggest problem was it has a really good setup. The execution is just not there. I just wanted a lot more from these actors to kind of sell the film because, like I said, it's a very serious tone film. It's dealing with a lot of serious things, teenage suicide and, murders being executed and just family issues and relations and things like that. There's a lot of things, obviously the moral of the story is be careful what you wish for. So there's a lot going on here. Like it's not a bad, really written film. It's just the execution is very, very sloppy and poor in my opinion. And what really killed it for me was the acting. The acting, like I said, was the biggest downfall to this film. I think there was a lot of good moments in it. I thought some of the cinematography was decent. I thought the soundtrack was actually really good. I thought the music during the zombie apocalypse was really good. But with that said, it comes up very, very short for me, and I was very disappointed in this. I was expecting quite a bit because I know Nathan Thomas Miller is a really big fan of the genre, and obviously, you know, he does all the horror art and things like that. And he also did, I think he directed a short called Confessions of Fred Krueger, and you know, it's like a fan short, you know, based on Nightmare on Elm Street stuff, and I heard that's really, really good, and so I want to check that out. But you know, this one right here, it had a lot of potential. I think it just needed to be tweaked, maybe edited a lot better, and just kind of tightened up. And you know, for a 70-minute film, man, it flies by, but it doesn't deliver. That was the biggest problem to this film. So yeah, if I had to rate this one, I'm going to give it a solid 4 out of 10. Check this one out at your own risk, because that's all I can say. I know some people liked it out there. I didn't think it was a horrible film. I just think it missed the mark terribly. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes sometimes with these type of films. So yeah, A Wish for the Dead from Legless Corpse. You know, their films are very, very hit and miss for me, but yeah, and this one kind of does it, man. You know, like I didn't really think I honestly was expecting a lot more effects too. But you know, there is a lot of cool things in here. But if you want to check it out, I won't ruin everything for you. But A Wish for the Dead, pretty interesting. I know it's based off a comic book that he actually wrote, I believe, or a novella or something like that. So, but yeah, missed the mark for me. 4 out of 10. That is going to do it here for day 18. I will see you guys tomorrow in day 19. And as usual,